Yes. Oh, hello there. Welcome. Welcome to Blackthorne Casket Company. How can I help you this fine evening? Oh, you have an appointment with us. Wonderful. Well, would you mind then giving me your name, please? I remember seeing that name on here. I believe this is your first time here, isn't it? Wonderful. Well, we are very glad to have you here. Now, from my understanding, you are something of a new vampire, right? You have not been turned for very long. I see. No, darling. That's nothing to be ashamed of. We all start somewhere, don't we? There are those vampires who are quite old and prefer to think of themselves more highly because of that, but don't worry, I am not one of them. Here at the Blackthorne Casket Company, we are happy to serve anyone. And, seeing as your sire is paying the bill today, you will have no expenses spared from choosing your very first personal coffin or casket. It's quite exciting, really. Oh, that's all right. You know, there's quite a lot of changes when you've been turned, isn't it? Even if you thought it was something that you wanted, it can still be a bit of an adjustment, can't it? Yes, no, I understand. I'm relatively new as far as the vampire timeline goes. I was turned in the 1980s, so it hasn't been all that long that I've been among the undead as well. I understand it is quite an adjustment. There's all kinds of things that you give up. There's a lot that you gain, but also some things that you lose. Well, we don't have to dwell on those things tonight, all right? Tonight, we're just going to have some fun, you and me, okay? Now, of course, most vampires, whether they are ancient creatures or freshly turned, do prefer to have something like a coffin or a casket or something of the like to sleep in safely during the day. Now, there are lots of tropes, of course, in movies, in media, in folklore, that they get quite a lot of things wrong about vampires. But there are some that are relatively accurate, seeing as we are not necessarily friends of that big fiery ball in the sky that comes out in the day. Most vampires do like to have somewhere safe and secure to spend their waking hours of most people. So, here at Blackthorne Casket Company, we have been the leading manufacturer for resting places for the undead for hundreds of years. As such, we've seen all kinds of trends come and go, and then some designs that stay incredibly timeless. But we are happy to accommodate whatever sort of style, whatever sort of preferences that you have, all right? This is just going to be a bit of fun. I'll show you some different designs. We can discuss colours, textures, aesthetics that speak to you. And then I'll also get some nice detailed measurements of you so that I can make sure that your casket fits you perfectly comfortably. Does that sound all right with you? Wonderful. As I said, there is no pressure, there are no expectations. We have quite a few designs and colours that might fit into what someone might consider the vampire aesthetic. Blacks and reds, dark purples, dark greens, midnight blues perhaps. But we can also accommodate any other sort of colours and styles that you would like as well, okay? Don't be ashamed. Whatever you would like, we would be happy to make just for you. All right. Well, before we get started, would you like me to get you a drink that you can enjoy while we chat? All right. Do you have any sort of preference? A, B, O, positive, negative, anything like that? Not to worry. As a younger vampire, perhaps you haven't acquired certain preferences quite yet. That might change over time, although there are some vampires who never really are very picky about what type of blood. Perfectly fine either way. Well, let me get you a nice, mild type of vintage, all right? There we are. I think we'll start with this one. If you don't like it, of course I can get you something else, but this is a positive of a lovely young lady. I believe she was about 25 to 30, something in there. Voluntarily given, don't worry. There are some facilities that might acquire their drinks in other ways, but here at Blackthorne Casket Company, everything is above board, don't worry. There we are. There. That should be a good amount to get you started. If you would like more at any time, please let me know. I'll top you off, all right? All right. Now, generally with an appointment of someone who is brand new to shopping for coffins and caskets, I like to start out with showing you just a handful of some of our most popular designs. I don't want anything to feel overwhelming, like it's too many choices thrown at you at once. But if I show you a handful of them, some of them that are more timeless classics, and then some of the more popular trends right now, it's a good place to start, to get your mind thinking of what might feel right for you. Does that sound all right? Okay, good. And of course, you don't have to make any sort of definite decisions today either. I'll get your measurements either way, and if you'd like to have a bit of time to think about it, that's perfectly fine too. All right, I've got some simple sketches here that can at least sort of give us an idea. All right. Now, if you hate all of these, that's perfectly fine, but it's at least a place to start. Now, on this sheet here, I have 3 of our most popular, timeless designs, things that are, steeped in history and tradition. And then I have some of our more modern, trendy designs as well. Of course, you're welcome to go either way. Starting off with the absolute classic here, the hexagonal coffin. This one is a very comfortable design for most body types here. It's a bit wider where the shoulders would be, and then the head, it's a bit narrower, and then it tapers down nicely towards the feet. It's just a nice, mildly anthropomorphic shape without going too anthropomorphic. This one has a nice depth to it, and of course the top can be adorned with any sort of symbol that you might like. Here there's just the classic skull, although some people actually like to go more traditionally religious in sort of an ironic way and put a cross on there or something like that, or an upside down cross or a pentagram, any sort of symbols that you would like. Now, of course, historically these coffins were often just made of simple wood and bodies were just thrown in. Our coffins here are incredibly luxurious. Nothing like that, don't worry. The interior will be lined with a lovely soft fabric in your particular taste, whether you would like crushed velvet, whether you'd like something more breathable like a nice strong linen, whether you would like silk or satin, anything like that. And it will be cushioned to fit your body frame perfectly. So that is a very simple, very classic, but as I said, timeless design there. Otherwise, we do have the more modernized idea of a casket. Now, typically this is more rectangular in shape, although it's wider all the way around. This one, instead of having a lid that comes on and off across the entire coffin, this one generally has a swinging door where the top half opens, the bottom half stays closed. So as you're getting in, you more tuck yourself in under over there. These are generally made of a nice, beautiful, hard wood like mahogany or oak. It can be stained any sort of colour that you would like, and we can also make them in metal as well. And then, of course, that interior again is lined with a lovely, luxurious fabric in whatever texture and whatever colour you would like. So that one is certainly much more indicative of this era, but still a lovely, timeless design. Now, if you are a fan of history, we also have this very anthropomorphic coffin design here. This is, of course, reminiscent of what you think of when you hear the word sarcophagus from ancient Egypt, but they were not the only culture to use anthropomorphic style coffins and caskets as well. Often they were made of clay or stone, something that was available in the region, and of course they were very ornately decorated like the person who resided inside. Often these were also sort of layered coffins in the way that you would have an outer decorative one and then smaller versions of the same casket until you got to the actual body. This can be a very, very nice, decision for someone who cares very deeply about security. You can have a latch on each of the different nesting coffins if you would like, but we also can just do the one. It's perfectly fine. You can have it designed in an ancient Egyptian sort of style. We can put a portrait of you there, or we can keep it much more simple and just have it be one solid colour. Beautiful black onyx, perhaps, can look very, very striking. And of course this one flows with the curves of the body. You've got a bit more space here for the shoulders and the arms, and then it gets a bit narrower at the feet there as well. So those are our three probably most timeless classic designs, but with each new era comes new ideas, new trends as well. This one is rather popular right now. It's a bit, well, perhaps a bit unusual. It doesn't actually look like a coffin or a casket really, but it is quite comfortable, I suppose. We call this our nest coffin. It's more just a nice oblong shape here, rather wide so you can curl up if you would like instead of sleeping straight up and down. And it's very nicely cushioned on the inside, and it opens and closes here from a little latch there. It's almost like a clam. That's not a very aesthetic word, but that is sort of what it ends up being. Some people like to have them made of a nice soft wood, like a birch wood or something, or a balsam wood where you can curve it nicely. I've also had some people who wanted this made out of wicker, like a woven sort of basket look to it. Whatever you would prefer, really. As I said, it is okay to want a coffin that perhaps doesn't fit into the aesthetic of a vampire. If you are a vampire and it is your aesthetic, then it is a vampire aesthetic. So, really anything goes. That's the point, I suppose. Now, if you'd like something that is nice and comfortable, like our nest coffin here, but want something that's perhaps a bit more on brand, we also have this beautiful teardrop-shaped coffin. Quite unique, I think. It still has that nice, wide, rounded feel to it, so that it's nice and comfortable there. I've had some people who have it beveled, so it looks like a gemstone. Others like it completely smooth and a nice rounded top there so that you can have, perhaps just one colour or a nice deep dark wooden tone, whatever the case really. And this one, of course, we can add whatever sort of sigil you would like to it as well. And then the inside upholstered again, and we can have it indented to where you would like to sleep. Now, our next one that has become very popular, especially as vampirism has spread more to urban areas, is a very practical space-saving idea. This is our wall coffin. As you can see, it is the same sort of standard hexagonal design like this, but this one is upright, at least mostly upright. There's a bit of an angle so that it's comfortable to sleep in, but this one can be hidden behind a door or a panel in a wall. It's quite nice for vampires who perhaps need some space saving. If you live in a small area in an apartment or something like that. Or it's also very nice for vampires who perhaps still have relations that are mortals that don't necessarily know you're a vampire. It would be a bit strange to have a giant coffin in the middle of your bedroom. I suppose some mortals probably do that too, but this is just a nice way if you would like to keep things a bit more contained and secret. Now with this one, our measurements that we take are very important. All of them are, but this one especially, because we want to make sure that there's a nice indentation for the head and the shoulders so that you can rest very, very comfortably. And this one, of course, we will take care of installation too. You don't have to worry about that. You just point to where you want it and we will add the false wall or the panel or anything like that. Now this one, you can have a door that matches whatever sort of style is in your dwelling right now, whether it's just standard sort of basic apartment doors, or if you would like, we can make this much more ornate and aesthetic as well. It's entirely up to you, but that is a good option for those who need it. Some look at that and gawk and say that would be very uncomfortable, but to some it fits into the lifestyle that they need. So, as I said, this is just a small sampling of some of the different shapes that we can do here, but all of them can be completely customized with colours, with materials, anything really, whether you'd like it made of metal or wood or more like a stone or a clay. Don't worry, it will still be very, very strong and durable. And then of course the interior as well. So just your first thoughts. Which of these stands out the most to you, or do you hate them all? Which one would you say you might lean towards? All right. Yes, absolutely. That one's been quite popular lately. Well, I suppose all of these are popular, but that one especially. Okay. Now, were you thinking sort of a darker colour tone, or would you like something more light and airy? Sure. Not to worry. We have all kinds of lovely colours to choose from. Anything from black, of course, blackest black, to a nice rich charcoal black, perhaps, or a nice deep red, a brighter red, more of a rich purple, perhaps a plum, perhaps a dark turquoise, a dark emerald green, anything really. Okay, yes, of course. And it's all right if this isn't your final choice or anything. We're not set in stone or anything. I just want to take notes as you have different thoughts, all right? Okay. Now, for the outer construction, would you like wood? Would you like metal? Would you like stone? Okay, yes, that will work nicely with that design. Any preference on the colour? Would you like it lighter, darker, somewhere in the middle? Of course. And then really sky's the limit as far as any sort of decoration that you would like on the outside of the casket as well, okay? Really, whatever you can imagine. If you would like sort of Edwardian ornate filigree, whether you'd like something a bit more modernized and minimalist, something more Elizabethan in era, whatever you would like. Okay, well, you think about it. Not to worry. If you'd like it gilded in gold and silver, we can do that. Or if you'd like to just keep it nice and simple, or more rustic feeling, we can certainly do that too. Now, as far as the fabric inside the coffin, our most popular are velvet. We can do a nice smooth velvet or more of a crushed velvet if you would like. Or we have a lovely silk or satin. We also have a fabric called linwood, which is like a linen, nice and breathable and natural, but a bit stronger than your typical linen. Still very soft though. Or we have a natural meadowlark cotton, which is incredibly breathable, has a bit of a stretch, a flexibility to it, but can still look nice and luxurious depending on what colours and the rest of the aesthetic that you choose as well. Okay, sure. Now, would you like the upholstery to be tufted or more smooth, or just the indentation of where you will be laying? Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's alright if you don't know everything right now. I just want to start asking the questions so that as I'm taking any measurements, you can be thinking about it. Alright, now, if we were going to do accents, would you be leaning more towards gold or silver or a metallic black or something like that? Mm-hmm, of course. That would look quite nice. Any sort of symbols or sigils that are significant to you? Okay. Sure. I think that's an excellent choice for your first resting place. Of course, if in 100 years you hate it, you can always come back and get something different as well. We do have an exchange policy. As long as your coffin is still in decent shape, we understand it will have some wear, but as long as it's in decent shape and can be reupholstered and resold, we do have some vampires who come in and want more of the second-hand affordability. But seeing as you are being sponsored by your sire, has she been treating you well? Good. She is quite highly thought of in most vampire circles, so I would assume that she would be a very good, attentive sire to you. Good. All right. Well, unless you have any questions on the designs or anything like that, we can set that aside for now, let you think about it, and get to some measurements, perhaps. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Now, as I said, each coffin is made very specifically for you, so I am going to be taking some rather detailed measurements just to make sure that it fits you perfectly. Alright? Okay, just a moment. Alright, now I'm going to start out with just getting your height and some circumferences, and then we'll get a bit more detailed as well, okay? Alright. You don't have to try to stand stick straight or anything like that. I want you to feel comfortable. There we are. Right. Could you hold out your arms for me, please? Get a wingspan. Good. Thank you. Right. Good. Now you can keep your arms out just a little bit so I can get some circumferences, okay? Just of the chest area here. Just take a nice deep breath for me, please. Good. Alright. You can just breathe normally now, it's alright. Okay. And a bit low. Alright, good. Write those down first. Okay. Span. Just waist. Oops. Alright. Good, good. Alright, for the rest of these you can just stand nice and comfortably. You don't have to worry about anything too specific, alright? I'm just going to get things like shoulders there. Good. Okay. Some sort of measuring the torso versus the legs. Alright, good. Okay. Good. There we are. You're doing an excellent job. Have you thought of any specific questions or anything yet? Alright, not to worry. If you do happen to think of any, I'd be happy to answer them. But seeing as this is all a bit new, I understand you might not know the questions to ask yet. That's okay too. Alright, now I'm going to get some detailed measurements around your head and your neck, alright? Okay. Just stay nice and comfortable. You don't have to try to flex or anything like that. Right. Circumference of the neck, yeah. Okay, good. I like the face, yeah. Okay. And the eyes, ears there. Good. Face down. Okay. Mm-hmm. There we are. Good, good, good. Right, now typically, once we finalise the design that you want, like I said, it doesn't have to be what we've taken notes on already if you change your mind. But whenever you're ready to finalise it, we will create the coffin, especially for you. But then we'll have you in for a fitting, for sort of a test run before we completely finalise everything. That way, if there's any areas that need to be enlarged or made smaller, any of the indentations that don't feel comfortable, if you thought you would really like a fabric and you would actually like something else, we can do any of those changes as well. And then once it's finalised, you can take it home. Alright, good. I suppose it depends on how personalised you would like it, for how long it takes. We generally say about a month, just for everything to be customised and handmade and polished and all of those things. They are of the utmost quality after all. If it will be any longer than that, we will let you know, and there will certainly be some discounts, but we try within a month, and sometimes it's even earlier than that. It just sort of depends on how many orders we have, how quickly the artisans decide to work. You can't rush art. Sometimes it would be nice to, Oh no, don't worry. We'll take care of delivery and, like I said, installation or anything like that too. Not to worry. Now, all of our coffins are very secured as well. They can be locked from the inside so that you can get out, but no one can get in. You can also have secondary latches. Now that we live in the era of technology, you can also have things like retina scans, things like that too, so that no one else can open it. But it's entirely up to you. Seeing as you have a rather affluent and highly respected sire, you're probably living somewhere that is already quite secure. See, some vampires, especially those who live in cities somewhere where it is highly populated, they tend to feel a bit more paranoid about someone walking in the middle of the day and finding them and throwing the coffin door open. That doesn't happen very often, don't worry. But even if someone did walk into your home, they wouldn't be able to get into a Blackthorne coffin. They are very, very secure. Now, we do also have some vampires who like to add things like temperature control to the interior of their coffins. Now, of course, we as vampires don't experience things like hot and cold in the same way that a mortal body does, but there are still those who are a bit particular and want it nice and cool or nice and cozy warm when they sleep, so we can, of course, accommodate any of that as well. Okay, of course. Well, if you change your mind, let me know. Of course, they are nicely insulated, so they're never going to get incredibly hot or incredibly cold or anything like that. But if you would like it to stay within a certain temperature range, we can certainly arrange that as well. Okay, good. Right, I'm going to get a few more measurements with this other measuring tape here. Okay. Okay, good. Right, could you lift out your arms just a little bit so I can get the bicep? Right. Could you flex for me, please? Okay. Down here to the tricep. And wrist. Alright, good. Now, have you experienced, since you've changed as a vampire, have you experienced any sort of recurring pain? Okay, good. Some people, if you had some sort of recurring or chronic pain or something like that as a mortal, there might be traces of that just as you're transitioning. It should go away, of course. You're not a living being anymore, but if there is any sort of particular pain or discomfort or an old injury that perhaps still bothers you in this form, we certainly want to make sure that we make your bed comfortable for that as well. Alright, could you flex from me over here, please? Good. Good. Yes, we are quite fast healers, aren't we? And most of those pesky little human problems, like diseases and old injuries, no longer pertain to us. If there is anything that you feel residually, I would guess it would go away rather quickly. It generally does. If it doesn't, you can always go into the Evermore Institute for a checkup or something like that too. They have quite a few very respectful professionals there that would be able to answer any sort of health or mental health questions for you as well. You never have to worry about asking help, alright? I'm sure your sire has said that as well. But sometimes it's nice to hear from multiple sources. Right. Almost done, just a few more, okay. Just to make sure I've got everything covered. Now, of course, some of the coffin designs are a bit more particular when it comes to measurements. Some of them are a little more lenient, but I still like to be nice and thorough when I take measurements, just so I have it in case you change your mind or want something quite custom. It's perfectly fine either way. Just a bit more. And then I think you should be good to go. Do you have any other thoughts about design, colours, anything like that you'd like to amend or add to what we talked about before? Okay. Yeah, of course. That's interesting. You know, I've even had someone, when there was a sigil added, they actually brought in something. It was something of like a family crest that had been handed down for generations as well. If you have anything like that, any sort of a token or something that is significant to you, we can of course accommodate that as well. Or if you have a particular gemstone perhaps that you enjoy, we can also have a sigil carved out of that stone, or perhaps an abalone shell. Sky's the limit, really, as I said. Right, well, I think that does it as far as measurements that I will need. Anything else that I should know that you would like to add in for the correct aesthetic or the level of comfort that you would like? Okay. Good. I think that would be a nice touch here. Right. Okay. Good. Well, I think you've got a nice vision going here of something that will be quite special and unique to you. Now, would you like me to have this as the finalised design, or would you like to take a bit of time to think about it? It's alright either way. If you're excited and you want to get this going right away, I can put it in. But we do have all the time in the world, don't we? Alright, perfect. Well, you think about it over the next few days or so. If you have anything that you would like to change, just give us a call, or you can have us finalise it and we'll start working as soon as we get the go ahead from you. Alright? Good. I'll just make a note of that here, and we await your final decision. Good. Well, I think that is going to be something quite special. Something very comfortable, very secure, very safe, and very you. Good. Well, thank you very, very much for trusting the Blackthorne Casket Company with all of your undead resting needs. And I will look forward to hearing from you in a few days. I'll see you later.